Servus Männer, it's Red Pill Germany again. Today I want to touch a little bit on the topic of the China bug in Germany, but the actual topic of today's talk is the very different way in which these numbers, these incidences or these positive tests are treated and interpreted by the media. And this comes actually down to the politics of the state that is more or less affected by this disease. Yes, it sounds really bizarre, but it is true, as I will show you very clearly in today's video. If you have been following my channel since early 2020, or if you are aware of how these 4 waves that we had so far since then were going down in Germany, then you know very well that the first wave was rather small and it was not really in Eastern Germany, and in the north also not. It was more in the south and in the west. But then the second and third wave that were during last winter, or let's say autumn and winter, that was all over Germany. And then, and my personal humble opinion is, because they were not affected the first time, it hit Eastern Germany a little harder. So I will give more examples about this phenomenon, and of course I don't have scientific data on that, but it is just really plausible to me that a population that was not initially hit will suffer a little more compared to a second group or a second population that was hit already the first time, and many weak people already died, or people had some immunity since then, whatever. That is very plausible. But that is, of course, not how the media and the mainstream politicians were treating that. You probably know just as well as I do that they try to construct some direct link or mechanism or relationship between how people vote or what their election preference is like and how hard they are hit by the coup. So there were dozens, if not hundreds of articles that said, oh, evil Eastern German AfD voters are hit hard by the coup. And that is because they don't respect the rules, and they don't wear masks, and they don't believe in it, and they deny the existence of it, and so on and so on. And in contrast to that, these politicians presented us the Western German model citizen, metropolitan world citizens. Of course, everyone wears masks, everyone votes for the Green Party, and they're just good people, and this is why they are totally safe, and this virus doesn't affect them, or they can deal with it very well because they love our glorious leader. And the leader, the chancellor, protects, as we all know. If you believe in her and pray to her, then she will protect you with her power from her golden throne. And there is even a guy that the federal government declared responsible for Eastern Germany. So he's the responsible guy for Eastern Germany, for all questions Eastern. And he told us that yes, evil AfD voters are the reason, and they grew up in a dictatorship, and that's why they don't know how democracy works, and we have to send kindergarten teachers over there to explain it to them. The name of this guy is Wanderwitz, which means wandering joke. Very fitting name. Anyway, but what is the current status in Germany? Well, let's look at the official data, shall we? Alright, so on this color-coded map, you can see the Federal Republic of Bundland, Germany, and the red color means a high incidence. That means a high number, or relatively high number, of infections during the last 7 days per 100,000 inhabitants. And the red areas, what does that remind you of? I mean, this crescent moon thingy, isn't that like the western sector? Isn't that Western Germany? And even where Berlin is a little dot. So it looks suspicious to me somehow. It looks like Eastern Germany has a very low incidence at the moment, just like the way it was in the very first wave we had in Germany. And all these model Green Party voting citizens from Western Germany, they seem to be struggling a whole lot. So I was waiting for articles that tried to explain to us how they have fallen from the faith and they have carried out vile deeds of heresy against the glorious leader, and the sleeping God Chancellor doesn't listen to their prayers anymore and has removed her shield of protection from these heretics. But I cannot read such articles. It's really strange. It's almost as if the journalists are interpreting these regional differences now in a completely different manner. I'm flabbergasted. All right, now all kidding aside, of course they don't write about that, and there seems to be a reason in addition to what we already know, that is the standard hypocritical practice of the mainstream media, where they put focus on something if it serves their agenda, and where they hide something or where they are silent about something that doesn't further their agenda. But there is one more reason here, and that is that there are many claims of hospital staff, and even though there is no official number being recorded here, of course, because it's not allowed, but there are many hospital workers that report that a large majority of those people in Western Germany that are currently being treated at the hospital with the COV are not really looking like Germans. So as you must know, many people in these Western states came back from vacation, and as I also reported to you recently, sometimes these people who were seeking shelter and protection here in Germany from their awful countries where they are persecuted, well, it seems like they're going there on vacation regularly. So that might have something to do with that, and that might be an additional little reason why the media is so silent about this and sweeps it under the rug. I mean, of course, they show these maps and everybody with two eyes in his head, or actually one is enough, can see that clearly. However, there are no articles that try to link this prevalence of the infections in the western part of our glorious nation to some kind of behavioral cause or some kind of political ideological cause in the population. And now just one more thing that I hinted at already in the beginning of the video. Well, this is actually not surprising at all, or let's say we know for a long time already that all these measures and all these rules, they are not as important as politicians want to make us believe. For example, there were many Asian countries that were doing really well during the first wave, and there were again so many articles in the West like, oh, what can we learn from Vietnam, what can we learn from Taiwan, and so on, and Malaysia and Indonesia. They are these model countries that we can learn so many things from. And look at it now they have record numbers and they cannot deal with this new Delta variant or whatever, right? So there are many reasons why a virus spreads in a population, and some of them might be under our control, but most of them simply are not. Or do you remember how the leaders of Australia and New Zealand were praised for their really uncompromising policy, and now yeah, it is not working, okay? And it is not that their solutions or their rules were better, or that the population is more disciplined and more obedient and plays by the rules more or something like that. No, most of it is just coincidence. And there are hundreds and thousands of parameters that influence the overall compound outcome. So I think it is even impossible to predict what country is hit in what way, or what city or what state or something like that. And the attempt to demonize people or populations or groups that are hit very hard by it, and to praise populations that were maybe just lucky, or countries that just caught a lucky break during one season, is absolutely foolish. And people who say that they love science so much, they shouldn't talk like that. It is absolutely nonsensical and completely completely unscientific to make these very, very simplistic claims. And coming back to Germany now, so bad-mouthing and blaming Eastern Germans as dirty people or people who spread diseases. Well, how do these authors of these articles interpret the actual current numbers now? Wouldn't they have to say the same things about the colorful people from North Rhine-Westphalia? And wouldn't they have to praise people from Thuringia, Saxony, and so on for being really model citizens that play by the rules and that are really, really supporting our glorious leader in her endeavors to save Germany? But as I said, for some mysterious reasons, we don't read articles like that right now. Alright, I think you get the point. Let me know what you think about that, and as always, how this is in your country in case you're not from Germany. At this point, I want to thank all my supporters and my subscribers. You guys are great. Like, share, and subscribe, and especially support me and join me on alt tech platforms. The links are in the descriptions down below. Servus, Kameraden.